Happy homecoming and an Auburn win. The Tigers take down the Samford Bulldogs by the score of 45-13 in their third game of the season. We're going to offer our reactions here at E2C Network, but of course, we want to hear yours as well. This is our post-game reaction show for Auburn versus Samford. Let's get into it right now. War Eagle Auburn family, War Eagle E2C Network family, thank you for joining us, whether you're watching live, whether you're watching on the replay. We appreciate you being here, hanging out with us, spending some time being a part of our little family within the Auburn family. As I addressed at the start of the stream, we are celebrating win number 3, game number 3, and win number 3. And to top it all off, it is homecoming. How much sweeter can it get? Auburn off to a very good start on the season with their third win of the year. Yes, has the competition maybe been a little bit on the lower side? That might be so, but you still got to take care of business, and you can only play who you're scheduled to play. So we're going to talk about it, offer our thoughts on everything, what happened, what we saw, what we think we saw, what we think we can interpret from the game. Of course, we want to hear from you on the stream tonight. So make sure you start off on a good note with us by posting where you're watching from, your city, your state, international. All of that good stuff is very helpful if you'll post that in the comment section as you come into the stream, as you're watching on the replay. And of course, you can also start off on a good note by smashing that like button. It's a huge help to help people find us. Sorry, I keep looking around because I'm managing my surroundings right now. You can help us by smashing that like button to help people find the stream tonight. A couple of housekeeping notes before we jump into things. Most of you know that I've had to change my parking situation this year, thus had to change my broadcasting situation and get creative, try new things. So this is going to be take number 2 on all this. We might be from a different location in the mobile broadcast studio, aka my car, next week, but I think we are honing in on a manageable situation for the rest of this season. We will find out. This is a good test run and all that. You guys can help me know if this is working or not by letting me know if the stream quality is good, sound is okay. All of that stuff is very helpful, so please let me know in the chat right now. Obviously, I can just go into what I want to discuss, but I want to hear from you on what you might like to discuss this evening about the particular game. Now, look, let me go ahead and talk about this part of it as well. I could sense a little bit in the stadium. I think the expression is the natives were getting restless with the way things started, with the way things were going against a team like Samford. I also think at times, though, we're a little bit quick to jump on those feelings as opposed to looking at context, looking at what may be attempting, what was attempted. There was an attempt attempted by this team, attempted by this coaching staff, attempted by these players to work on this week. Found some things quite intriguing overall. But yeah, so I think that's the biggest thing here. I know that there's a lot of initial reaction, especially at the start of the game, about decision-making, play calling, things of that nature. All things which are warranted, but also want us to keep it into perspective too on what may or may not have been going on. So keep that in mind as we go throughout our discussion tonight. Darlene checking in, Anthony checking in. Thank you guys for being here on the stream. I thought it was interesting tonight that Peyton Thorne got to play as much as he did. I think some people would say, well, yeah, Kyle, because they struggled with Samford. Of course, they left him in to make sure everything was okay. Look, that may be the case. Sure. I don't necessarily think that is the case. I haven't listened to any post-game press conferences yet, any analysis, so I don't know if it's been addressed. But to me, it felt like this was a deliberate decision to keep Peyton Thorne in as long as it, to let him work as much as possible going into an all-important game next week to really determine where we stand in college football, but also in the SEC play, which is very up and down right now, depending on which team you're talking about. So I want to make sure that we kind of keep that in mind, that if you're someone who thought that Peyton Thorne played too much, thus we were terrible, Not necessarily the case tonight. Let me go ahead and address Peyton Thorne's stat line tonight. 2 interceptions. Didn't look good. One was into like triple coverage. The other was a, I'm of the opinion that first one in the end zone he did throw it in kind of hot, but the rule is if the receiver gets the ball in his hands, it's his job to make the catch. If it doesn't bounce off him, if he catches it out in front of him, it doesn't bounce off and go over him to the defender. 2 interceptions, though, in the night. Those are Peyton's responsibility. 24 for 32, 282 yards with a touchdown, 75% completion percentage. If you want to know that QBR rating, 146.8 if you're into those type of stats tonight. Also, on top of this tonight, he is your leading rusher with 11 attempts, 123 yards, a long of 38, 2 touchdowns. Took a play out of Robbie Ashford's playbook, didn't he? That was quite interesting to see how brave he was being out there, because he's got an injury that he's had in his past too. But I also wonder if that wasn't a deliberate attempt as well to make Texas A&M and the coming opponents respect not just his arm, but his legs too. David Wells, why do you continue to be too kind? He says boo. He says boo, but sends me the super chat. David, you are very kind, sir. Thank you so much for that. It is much appreciated and is not necessary, but appreciated all the same. Or were you saying boo as in like scare me? Because don't do that. I'll get scared too. Jalen Hurts Cannon is saying A&M is going to beat Auburn by 40, or at least that's what SEC Mike was saying. We'll worry about that now. We're talking about Samford right now. We'll focus in on that one. Cody, I don't know if I said hello to you already. Thanks for checking in from Opelika, not too far away from where I am right now. I know that you guys are eager to talk about Texas A&M. I know, I get it. Let's just hone in on this one though, for just a little bit though. Hold your horses. I know you're kind of wanting to put this one to bed. Thomas, good to see you. But let's talk about it a little bit. So overall, Peyton Thorne tonight, even with the 2 interceptions, had an outstanding night. If this is the quarterback that we're going to be seeing, as my light decides that it's going to try to fall on us in midstream here. If that's the quarterback we're going to have this year in Peyton Thorne, I'm down for it. I really am. In fact, I'm going to be interviewed by a Texas A&M reporter this week, and he just sent me my notes, and he was asking my impressions of Peyton Thorne. One of the things that I'm really impressed with him is how calm he is under duress in the pocket. And there were a few times tonight that he was under duress, like didn't feel like an exorbitant amount, but there were, and you could really see him keeping his eyes downfield. And he's done this before, making sure his body mechanics were in check so that when an opportunity presented itself to make something out of maybe a stressful situation, he was able to do it. So very impressed. David, thank you so much for your kind words, sir, and your support. WT checking in. Good to see you from Pelham. We are one of the few SEC teams who are 3-0. I think the others are Kentucky, Ole Miss, and of course, Georgia. And Georgia struggled today as well. The SEC is struggling a little bit, and Auburn is among those that have not struggled. Maybe some of the wins at times look like a little bit of struggle, but the record does not dictate that. Has Auburn played the strongest schedule? Probably not. But again, you can only play. Alabama fans love saying this. You can only play who you can play, who you can play. I'm going to call it Jabbar. Thorne to Fairweather Doer will be fire. It is fire. It already is fire. How nice was that to see? What was it, like a 43-yard throw and catch? I think it's listed here on the stat line. I want to make sure I get that correct. Fairweather, his long 41-yard catch that almost was a touchdown. How nice is it to see a big, bad tight end being utilized the way that he is? In fact, he was utilized a lot tonight. If it hadn't been for Jay Fair, he would have been the top receiver tonight. 5 for 57 yards. 41 was his long. 5 total targets. Caught all of them. Outstanding play by Rivaldo Fairweather. Can we also just say a quick little remembrance to the wind that left the body of that Samford defender when Rivaldo Fairweather, how much of him there is directly on top of him after making that beautiful catch. I mean, I felt bad for him. The whole section I was in went, ooh, when he just came down on top of Rivaldo Fairweather is a big man. And when you fall on top of him, somebody with that's going to hurt. Michael, good to see you, sir. WT, it was an ugly win of sorts, but it was a win nonetheless. First time being 3-0 since 2019. Cannot take that away, right? Cannot ignore the significance of that. Yeah, look, some people might try to say that this is a struggle win. Sure, the first half was probably a struggle win, but 45-13 is nothing to bat an eye at. I think I predicted 53-14, if I remember correctly. I was on the ball if they don't miss an extra point, that being Samford. They get their 14 points. I was about 10 off from the Auburn score. I think all of us thought there would be a little bit more scoring. So was it a struggle tonight? Sure. But the thing that I continue to bring up and ask the question of it, was it this is going to sound bad, but a struggle by design? What do I mean by that? Were they I think that they were really trying to make situations occur to see what Peyton, the rest of the offense would do, because you want to kind of make them work through it, especially on a night where the running game was not all that great outside of Peyton Thorne, which is really nice that we now have it on tape that he'll go ball out as a runner too and not be afraid to take a hit. A couple of times I said, I wish he would have just, slid. He said, nope, I'm going to take the hit and roll with it. Thorne proved his wheels. Ashford proved he has an arm. Well, I think we all knew that Robbie Ashford had more than just his wheels. But was it as consistent as it needed to be? History has said not necessarily. But in the time that he played and threw that beautiful pass to Micah, it's now Michael Ducker. No, it's Micah Riley. Micah Riley, not Micah Riley Ducker. That was a pretty easy catch. I'm not taking anything away from him in that moment. Again, you can only do what you are allowed to do in the time that you're allowed to do it. But it's not like he made some outstanding throw on that. I feel bad even saying that because I don't want to take away from what Robbie is to this team, how important he is, could be, will be. But I also want to say, you see why Peyton Thorne is our guy as a passer. Did he make some bad decisions tonight? Sure. But boy, did he throw some nice balls into corners of end zones that we haven't seen Auburn do in quite some time. Have you picked up that I'm pretty much impressed with Peyton Thorne tonight? And it didn't start that way. It was pretty rough to start with. Who would have thought Kentucky would have been undefeated at this point? I think if I looked at their schedule, I had them undefeated for a while. Yeah. I can't remember what their schedule is. No problem being late. I started a little bit late too, just because, of the whole trying to get things situated and try new things out. Seems like the stream strength is maintaining thus far. So this might be the vicinity in which we pull these off for the foreseeable future too. It's pretty kind of quiet back here too. John, good to see you. And by the way, enjoyed hanging out with a lot of you guys in the Conquer Club tonight, whether you were in the Eagle tier and got those exclusive updates from me, or we were just chatting it up in the Conquer Club. If you want to join the Conquer Club, you can do it by being a YouTube member here. Go in the link. You can access it that way or hit the join button, or you can go through Patreon and do that too. It's our Discord where we hang out and talk about stuff. Michael says we have yet to play a complete game. We better get it together before SEC play. Oh, I absolutely agree about it is time to get it together now, which is why I think some of the things that happened tonight, some of the opportunities that were forced, situations were forced to be worked through, happened. There's a lot of, throwing when it was like third and goal, or excuse me, third down and 3 yards to a touchdown. Not necessarily what I would have done, but what if we need to do that in a situation? Why not let them work through it a little bit? Yep. Last time, 2019, I think someone said that earlier, that we won 3 games to start off the year. Yeah, I think it's clear, John, that he is not a perfect passer, not a perfect decision maker. But boy, he seems like the best we got. And so I appreciated the extra reps tonight as much as I would have loved to have seen Holden tonight, see Robbie a little bit more. I think it's time that we really, really lean into Peyton as the QB1 and give him every opportunity, especially in games like these, because for the next 4 games, boy, oh boy. Yeah, John, it's another new location. As I've said, I've had to kind of rearrange this year where I park and where's a good connection to stream from, what's safe, what's, all that stuff. I almost did something from campus tonight, but I was a little bit worried with the rain, what was going to happen, so it didn't happen. But here we are in the comfort of the mobile broadcast studio. Thorne proved that he's QB1, having him doing what he does. I like having Ashford as the backup / wildcat, but I hope they still continue to let him throw some, because they got to continue to make people respect that part of his game too. Wish they had put Ashford in when we were in the red zone the first time. And so that's a catch-22, right, David? We know that's high success rate, right? But if that's all we show out of him, we make him very one-dimensional. And that's kind of what happened in the California game from what I was able to watch, because I think most of you know I was kind of out of it last week for very good reasons. But I think it's high time that we not just show that Robbie is the guy in the red zone. They still did it tonight, right? But yeah. The mobile broadcast studio, get it right. From the back seat of the car, as it's been for the last couple of times. And we got a new little setup here that makes it a little bit more stable of a setup. In fact, I think this bounces a little less. I'm gonna have to do it on this side of the car from now on. Unbeaten Lake says a little bit disappointed with the O-line, wasn't able to create openings for the backs. I thought about this a lot too. Unbeaten Lake, very unspectacular tonight. Was it Samford was a little bit better than we thought? Did they just sell out on the run and make us beat them through the air, which we did? I don't know. I haven't made up my mind yet. Again, this is a reaction show, just kind of trying to piece all the things together, talk through them. I haven't made my mind up on that yet. But yes, it was not the best in the world. Deshaun, good to see you. Thorne, our second running back. And listen, if he runs like that, he can be number 1 at this point. Seems like Hunter is dealing with an injury. I could see why you would think that, because it feels a little bit like Tank last year when he was getting used, but not a whole lot. Again, I'm not certain. I wasn't really paying attention to what he was doing on the sideline and stuff. I think he's just now getting back. I mean, you can go to practice, but it's much different going into the game and playing those type of reps. It's going to take a little bit of time to kind of get back to form. So that's my opinion of it. Samford's defensive game plan had a lot to do with that. They dared Thorne to beat them. That's what I'm leaning, Kevlar. That's honestly what I'm leaning in this game, that the offensive line play wasn't necessarily as bad as we thought it was. I think there was just a sellout on Samford. But I've not made up my mind. That's the way that I'm leaning. I do know some people that really value, I think Thomas is here, offensive line play, and analyze that. And I know he was not pleased with it, at least at the start. I saw in my basic understanding of offensive lineman schemes and concepts, not a lot of great things out of it. Well, in fact, let's look at this. Let me pull this down, actually. Rushing tonight, Peyton Thorne, we talked about 11 rushes, 123 yards. Jarquez Hunter, 11 for 37 with his touchdown. Robbie had his rushing touchdown, but only 17 yards on 2 rushes. Jamari Alston, 8 for 25. Brian Batty, I always get it wrong. 5 for 21, and Jeremiah Cobb was utilized on a few runs, but really some sweep type of things, which I really liked. I think if we can get him out in some space, he's a pretty dynamic guy. I think that's probably going to do a lot of good for Jarquez, getting back into the swing of things, being forced to just go into the hole and fight through some blocks and some tackles. And we know what he can do when he's got space, a little bit of room, and he's got a DB or a safety one-on-one, or maybe an outside linebacker. But what happens between the tackles, that was good to see tonight. Yes, he is the top rusher tonight. Peyton Thorne's your MVP. And it didn't look like it was going to be that way to start. Kevin, I love your optimism, and I hope so, because I know a lot of people that are very disappointed with their play and want to see it continue to get better. Can I continue to ask the question, though? Will anybody say that it is still better? I mean, is it as worse as it's been the last couple of years? I still think it's better. Yeah, they did have a unique little defense, didn't they? It's nice to see wrinkles before we go play other teams. So that'll obviously pay dividends down the line. A quarterback should not be the team's top rusher, but I will take what I can get. Well, WT, I will submit to you one Cam Newton and tell me it shouldn't be the top rusher. Yes, that is an extenuating circumstance with a freak of nature that was Cameron Jarrell Newton. If we're talking about Peyton Thorne being the top rusher, is that normally a good sign? No, but I'll take it. If he's having a night like he did tonight, I will definitely take it. Aiden, I don't know the extent of the injury. Remember, Coach Freeze is very close to the vest. Most coaches are about injuries and not going to share a whole lot, so not really sure. But our defensive backs continue to be pretty dang strong. Jalen Simpson, another interception. JD Rim, an interception. All great things tonight. Looking very strong overall, especially a team that is that pass happy. Let me go back over here. Let's look at the away stats here. I'm trying to find the team ones here because I want to talk about that a little bit. Total yards for Auburn tonight, 562. I think I predicted 575 total yards, in that range, if I remember back to our preview show. Pretty good. Samford was held to 218 yards, 144 passing yards. They do not know how to run the ball effectively, consistently. Auburn did exactly what they needed to do. Kept the pass-happy offense of Samford in check. And you could see that their quarterback hires is not untalented, just not against talent like Auburn's. So even if Keontae Scott is out, we've got a great defensive back group. Yeah, everybody's looking bad. Georgia's looking bad. I mean, it's a rough year for the SEC overall. Yeah, I think the quarterback has a very nice touch on the ball too. You could see on the pass that was, I think it was a fake into the flats, pump faked, and then threw it right over the top of our safety who was coming down at the wrong angle, it looked like, and it was third quarter, so I don't know if it was the start. I don't know if it was Zion or not, but you can see he's got talent. So Auburn stopped a quarterback with some pretty decent talent, but you should expect that with our defensive back group. It may not mean a whole lot, but it does mean something, if nothing else, for a homecoming win. Little random thing here. There's this guy like walking around, seems very lost. Wonder if he's going to oddly look over here and see what's this guy doing, the light in his car. Anyway, so what else? What else stuck out to you tonight? Offense, defense. We talked about the offensive line play, maybe seemingly not that great. Peyton Thorne's clearly MVP tonight, even after a bad start. Oh, let's go through the wide receivers tonight. We talked about Rivaldo Fairweather, but I do want to mention some of the other guys. Jay Fair is your leading receiver tonight, just missing 100 yards receiving. We got 7 catches. for 93 yards, continues to be the favorite target of Peyton Thorne. It is truly a Jarrett Stidham, Ryan Davis connection that is being built here. 10 targets, caught 7 of them, so 70%. Shane Hooks, 3 catches, 47 yards. Jeremiah Cobb was utilized out of the backfield 3 times. Mari Kelly had 2 catches for 45 yards. That was a good catch that he had. Coy Moore, Damari Alston, Micah Riley, Jair Shorter. That is an interesting decision by that car. I told you guys this is a new parking space. It's interesting. I have to keep an eye on that. I'm fine. But when people like decide that they're going to go park randomly over in this one spot, you're kind of like, what are you doing? Oh, he must be going to the... Anyway, sorry, I'm not here to watch that. Micah Riley, Jair Shorter, and Tyler Fromm. I think, was it Luke Deal or Tyler Fromm tight end that got hurt tonight? Clint, good to see you. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Did we just get 1 interception? We got a total of... Let me pull it up for you guys. Total of your interceptions tonight. Jalen Simpson, who we talked about, and J.D. Rim. Very nice. Very nice. While we're here, your leading tackler tonight is Caleb Wooden, Colby's brother, who got beat a couple times in the third quarter. So it's interesting to see that as the top tackler, but you could see what he got involved in later on the line. They were having a little bit more success passing the ball, and as a safety, got into the action a little bit more. But if we talk about the guys who were playing most of the time, Larry Nixon probably would be your main leading tackler with 5. Kayan Lee had 4. DJ James had 4. Keldrick Falk, do y'all remember that great? He stuck his paw up and got the pass blocked. A lot of good points tonight. I predicted we would score 62. I think if not for the turnovers and red zone mishaps, we might have gotten there. Absolutely. Could have managed the game a little bit better, but maybe we were working through a few things. Luke Deal got hurt. Sad to see that. Hope he's all right. What else, guys, stuck out tonight? We're about 27 minutes in. We usually do these for a little bit shorter amount of time, but I don't want to miss any things that we can offer reactions to, thoughts on. Again, this is not about big time analysis, just kind of getting everything out there that we were thinking about, that we saw, that we experienced. While you're maybe thinking about some of the things, let me talk about what I experienced in the stadium. This was a great night for college football, just because of the homecoming atmosphere. The weather ended up being outstanding, hardly hot all day. Rain held off, at least for now. And I still got to go pick up some stuff. We did a little mini tailgate today on campus. But today was a good day on campus. Very, very happy that I get to do this and be a part of sharing the Auburn experience with you all, especially for nights like these. Everybody, a good portion of the crowd stayed until the swag surf in the fourth quarter, and that's when everybody started leaving. But yes, WTI always go to Toomer's, barring unforeseen circumstances, and I've already put out an image from there. I'll be doing his role. I hung around to see if I could find anybody that may know if Hugh was coming to do another role. Couldn't really find anybody that said, hey, we know he's coming, like a security person or anything like that. So I just kind of came over here to meet with you guys. David, I'm glad you brought this up. Do you remember how long it took us to get like a 1 turnover, a fumble, or an interception? Was it last season or the season before that? Either way, we've just maximized that so much. Defensive backs are killing it right now. Absolutely killing it. I do as well, Jabbar. I really want to see a punt return or a kick return, and we are that close to making it happen. Yeah. We talked a little bit about that, Jalen, about just the SEC, whether it's Alabama, whether it's LSU, whether it's Georgia, whether it's an interesting start to the year in SEC play. Don't think that what we're seeing now is what we're going to see later on, but it is interesting to watch right now. Yes, thank you for bringing that up. This is why I ask you guys what's something that we missed. 2 fumbles tonight, 1 loss on punt returns. It is the scariest play in college football for me. I have so many bad memories of watching balls dropped. It's tough sometimes. That has to get cleaned up. So as we look towards Texas A&M, we got to do things, the little things that create bigger problems, like catching a punt for a punt return, to not create issues that might arise when we're playing much tougher talent. All right. Final comments, questions, derogatory rebuttals, get them in right now. Do not hesitate. This is your last opportunity on this stream. But let me give you the rundown of what's going to be coming up next. Tomorrow night, we anticipate, we missed last week for good reason, but episode 51 of the Auburn Experience podcast, Austin and I will be back together, 9 Eastern time. Tune in for that. We will definitely be talking more about this game, this weekend, and much more, probably a catch-up since we missed a week. So don't miss that show. And as always, check out the links in the description for ways that you can help support our content, being a channel member, being a Booster Club member, donating, buying something, or you can just be here, smash the like button, be a part of our family within the Auburn family. Follow us on social media, all that good stuff. The links in the description will serve you well. I had one more thing I wanted to mention to you all too, and now I'm blanking on what it is. Do pay attention to the YouTube channel, especially. We will be putting up a lot of special content. We've got the homecoming float video that we do every year that'll be coming out. I've got some other like shorter 2 to 3 minute videos about some Auburn moments, like the first band performance, things like that, the first 2 Eagle flights that we're going to be sharing. So don't miss out on those. Make sure you're subscribed here on YouTube, especially if you're watching on Facebook. All right, let's run through this real quick. What you guys are saying, final thoughts. Did Asante play tonight? He was listed as the starter. Let me see if I can find you him. 1 tackle. 1 tackle. Don't know the story behind that. Good question, though. Glad you brought it up. Any interaction with Samford fans, I've always found them to be pleasant. This is why I ask. You guys are asking good questions. We had a very rowdy bunch of Samford girls behind us in the upper deck, and they're fine, but just, understand where you are. Maybe don't scream that loud when your team scores. I mean, my gosh, it took us fumbling the ball for you to get another score and a busted coverage to get the other one. David, you do not need to donate more. Don't you dare. I mean, you can if you want to, but like, you've been way too generous already. Wide receivers can't get fancy with their catches. One-handed catches are cool, but try to get both hands of the ball. And look, and I think they're taught that, but also they've got to be able to make plays, and sometimes that requires you to do a little bit something fancy here. What I love today is a lot of contact was made very early in their catch, and they held onto the ball a lot. Haven't seen that a lot. Eagle flights are always the best. This one was a little bit unique tonight. Kind of scared me for a little bit, like it was going to go off. Came back in real quickly. And when she made a beeline once she kind of turned around from doing the scare like she was going to fly out, and then just bolted towards the middle of the field. Mr. Beautiful says the O-line shows a lot of promise. I think you'll find just as equal amount of people that say they're a little bit discouraged by it. I think the jury's still out on this offensive line. I don't know that this night's an indication one way or the other. Still plenty of football to make that judgment. We'll know a little bit more next week. Remember what I told you all? This upcoming game will tell you the most about this team, especially because it's on the road. Thorne reminds me of Stetson Bennett. Operate the offense, smart guy. Take what the defense gives you. Fairly accurate. Good pocket awareness. Yes, I like that about him. Can burn you with legs if need be. Apparently so. Sometimes when you have 2 good ones, the other team will pull away from you. He will get his. Oh, I have no worries about Eugene Asante being effective. I wonder if he was given a little bit of a break tonight too. Let's see what else here. Make sure you have your dust. And there's the Dustbuster comment. Yeah. Random here. How long have you been doing this? Interacting. It's a cool place to have a conversation. Yeah, we've been doing this I've been doing podcasting and stuff around this for 9 years, but we've been like the last 3 or 4 been doing something like this. So hope you can hang around. We do lots of stuff. Main thing is Sunday night shows, Wednesday night shows. During football seasons, traditionally a Thursday night preview show, much more. Lots of great content around here. So with that being said, folks, I am starving. I got to go get some food, but I am happy that we are celebrating a win 13-45. The Auburn Tigers beat the Samford Bulldogs for homecoming. 3-0, baby. Looking good in the SEC right now at this point. You guys continue to be the best little family within the Auburn family, and I appreciate you so much. Smash that like button on the way out. Until I talk to you again. War Eagle.